Estate planning isn't exactly dinner table conversation. It's one of those topics that feels heavy, complex, and honestly, a little uncomfortable. Estate planning is difficult, not just because of legal jargon, but because it forces people to think about their priorities in the face of uncertainty. Legal documents can stretch for pages, filled with language most people don't fully understand. And even then, the outcome can still feel unclear. However, it's important to start thinking about what matters, when you might need help, and what steps you should consider to protect your family. Estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for anyone who expects to pass something on, which is everyone. Many people assume a will is enough, but a will alone doesn't solve the most important issues, especially in the case of a premature death. In fact, there are often bigger questions to answer. Who takes care of your children? Who manages the money? What happens if you're still alive, but unable to make decisions? These are the real concerns, and they require more than a simple document. Sometimes people walk into an attorney's office with good intentions, only to walk out with a stack of expensive, complicated documents they don't understand. That's why it's important to find a competent, reasonably priced attorney who can guide you clearly, not overwhelm you. For Dan, estate planning became very real when his life changed. Before having children, things were simple. He and his wife named each other as beneficiaries, owned assets jointly, and felt confident that if something happened, the surviving spouse could manage everything. There was no urgent need for a formal plan. Once they had children, everything changed. Their responsibilities grew, and so did the stakes. Suddenly, estate planning wasn't theoretical, it was essential. They sat down with a trusted attorney and focused on what truly mattered. If one of them passed away, the surviving spouse would take care of the children and manage the finances. But if both of them passed away, they made intentional decisions. Who would raise their children, who would manage the money, and how that money would be used to support their children's health, education, and overall well-being. They also planned for another possibility. What if one of them became incapacitated? In that case, they wanted clear instructions in place, along with the legal authority for the other spouse to make decisions. To support these goals, they created a set of core documents, a will for each of them, guardians named for their children, healthcare directives, healthcare power of attorney, and durable power of attorney. They also included trusts within their wills to control how and when their children would receive money, because handing a large sum of money to an 18-year-old didn't feel like a responsible plan. And many people overlook life insurance. At the time, Dan and his wife didn't consider themselves wealthy. But when they added up their assets, including life insurance, the total was significant. Without a plan, that money could have been distributed in ways they never intended. Without an estate plan, the courts make those decisions. The courts decide who raises your children. The courts decide who manages the money. And in many cases, children receive full access to that money at a very young age. That's not a risk Dan was willing to take. So they invested the time and money to put a plan in place. Not because it was exciting, but because it was necessary. There are lower-cost options available today, including online tools. And for some people, those may be sufficient. But for him, peace of mind came from working with a trusted professional, someone his family could rely on if the worst ever happened. Estate planning isn't a one-time event. Life changes due to marriage, children, divorce, remarriage, and your plan needs to evolve with it. At its core, estate planning is about responsibility. It's about making difficult decisions now so your family doesn't have to later. And more broadly, it ties into something even bigger, your overall financial priorities. Define what matters most, whether it be building financial stability, protecting your family, planning for education, managing risk, and creating the right legal foundation to support it all. Without clear priorities, it's impossible to build a meaningful plan. Estate planning may not be the most exciting topic, but it might be one of the most important. Take the time, ask the questions, get the right help. And most importantly, make the decisions now, so your family is protected no matter what the future holds.